So just a little bit of a recap over years of videos. I think you've heard me often refer to the fact that that Stripe owns 2% of XLM. Stripe is an Elon Musk company, and also derived from the PayPal mafia, right? That's where Elon Musk came from. And when Stellar Lumens XLM was very young, Stripe basically sponsored them or gave them, backed them, and in return for financial support, they got 2% of the supply of XLM. At that time, there was 100 billion XLM, just like XRP, right? Keep in mind the connection with XLM and XRP is Jed McCaleb. Jed McCaleb started Mt. Gox, the first crypto exchange, moved over, helped found Ripple, had a little disagreement because he wanted Chris Larsen to sell the company. I forgot who it was, to one of his buddies or something. That didn't happen. There was some issue with that, maybe some other issues. Jed McCaleb leaves, starts XLM. And it's weird because when the SEC was suing Ripple and XRP for these institutional sales or selling it because it's a secure, selling XRP because it's a security, for some reason they never touched Jed McCaleb. And all through the lawsuit, Jed McCaleb kept selling large amounts of the XRP that he held. And nobody ever sued him for some reason. Strange. Nobody sued him for all the shenanigans that went on with Mt. Gox before that. That exchange, a lot of people's Bitcoin was stolen, and only recently did they start reimbursing some people. I don't know, man. It's just, this guy's a little shady in my mind. But nonetheless, here's the deal. So in return for sponsoring XLM, Stripe got 2%, which is 2% of 100 billion is 2 billion, right? It's like, 2 billion. So they have 2 billion XLM. But then XLM burned about half its supply a few years back. So that 2% back then is now worth actually 4%, because Stripe didn't go and burn the 2% they held. So they have 4% of the network now. The network's less than 50,000 XLM, I think, something like that. I have to verify, but it's somewhere around there. And so you guys have heard that Elon Musk wants to do payments on the X app, right? He wants an everything app. And I've always told you that XLM was going to be the blockchain on which I think most of our transactions are going to occur. I could be wrong, but I don't doubt it. There's always been this connection with Stripe, and most people don't know that. And Stripe is what Elon Musk uses to clear transactions on the X app now. I mean, I have an account with them. I have to if I'm gonna do any kind of activity, any kind of business through X app. And so I do know at some point it's all going to run through the XLM blockchain. So this guy kind of talks about it pretty clearly, and I like it. It's the guy in the middle there. And he tells that story pretty clearly. So let's check this out. So it says here that, so let's put this all together. Stripe's been lurking in crypto for about a decade. And yeah, it's about right. But stayed quiet. Owned 2% of the XLM supply before half of it was burned. Stripe does the back end of X payments. X money is about to come out. Has Elon Musk been lurking too? Who else has been lurking? The PayPal mafia? Plans within plans within plans. We've watched the entire industry put a spotlight on Bitcoin and Ethereum for a decade, but XRP and XLM have always been more efficient than any of them. And the other thing to keep in mind is the PayPal mafia tried to set up, I think, a separate currency that could be used internationally, and they were stopped when they first started. I think it's intergalactic money or something like that they wanted to set up. And Facebook tried to do the same thing with Libra, if you remember. But that was stopped. So now all of a sudden we've got XRP, we've got XLM, and your Bitcoin. So let's check out what he has to say in the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. But you need to know some of this background if you're investing, because it matters. You need to know the history of these things. So check it out. Let me know what you think again. Until next time.
Let me put a finer point on it. I think that this is more a shot at Stripe than anybody else. Or that's where the anger should be pointed. Because Stripe, I don't know if people remember this, but Stripe actually was an original investor in Stellar. And they own like 2 or 3% of Stellar from 2014.
Really?
And yeah. And when Jed spun out of Ripple and started Stellar, Stripe was one of the original partners. So they've been in crypto literally for a decade, which there are very few people who can say, that they have on-chain transactions from pre-2015.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to note, they've been following this industry this entire time for the past decade plus. They've been waiting, they've been building their company, and they have chosen a path of centralization in a world of decentralization. And I think, they aren't just coming in at the end of this and being like, oh, wow, stablecoins, what an amazing invention. Like, we're going to plug in now. It's like, oh, we've been waiting. We've been biding our time until there's an opportunity for us to step in and own this stuff ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're going to take this away because, we don't think you guys should have it. And we're going to co-opt stablecoins, and we're going to co-opt kind of this entire narrative because we're the biggest payments company in the world, and that's what we want to be, and we're going to continue to be. So, thanks for doing all the hard work. We're going to take it from here. It is kind of the perspective that I think, they basically told everybody.